Welcome in. I am the crypto bull god, and in today's video what we're going to talk about are the two most likely paths that I see Bitcoin taking going into the halving, which is April 2024. Oh, the halving, the halving, the halving. We're going to have a fun discussion. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment. You gotta click that bell icon to receive all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday for All in the Charts. You can find me on Twitter, you can find me on YouTube, even Instagram, and TradingView, one word, Crypto Bull God. Just a quick disclosure that none of what I'm sharing with you is financial advice. I'm simply looking to educate and to help others through sound, logical, technical analysis. We're all big boys and big girls, so we can make our own personal financial decisions. With that being said, let's get into it. So if you're following me on Twitter, this chart should look very familiar to you. This is Bitcoin USD on a weekly time frame. And what I'm illustrating here is one of the primary hypotheses I'm using to assert that Bitcoin is going to have a blow-off fifth wave top by the end of this year. We are in a broader Elliott wave structure, and you can see the ABC corrections we've had within wave 2 and 4, and the impulse waves we've had on wave 1, 3, and we're still waiting for wave 5. This has been my primary hypothesis since mid to late 2022. As I have stated before, if you watch All in the Charts daily live stream Monday through Friday every single day, I've stated you can go back in the history of my videos and look at the video I published in October of 2022 calling for this type of formation. What we need to understand is that the primary notion that currently exists within the market, when you're going through YouTube channels and looking for information on Bitcoin, when you're on Twitter, most people believe that Bitcoin will have some sort of move that's going to mirror 2019. I believe that argument should have already been laid to rest. I mean, we haven't had that strong of an impulse like we've seen in 2019, yet many people, most people, believe that we're going to see an impulse upwards in the $40,000 range, and then we're just going to consolidate going into the halving, and then we're going to create new all-time highs after the halving. Look, I'm not going to argue with you. If you pull up a chart and you look at how price has responded after the halving dates, there's no argument there in terms of how price has responded around those dates. But if your only argument is to look at one chart and operate within a silo environment and not utilize many other charts, many of which I have spoken to, then I think you're going to miss the big picture here, which is that Bitcoin has not topped because of the halving cycle. That's not the reasoning it has topped. And I think it is absolute lunacy to think that a 4-year cycle is going to continue indefinitely. The more eyes that are on this, and it feels, especially at this point in time, there are so many eyes on this 4-year cycle theory and the halving cycle, the market is not going to give you what you expect. What most people are anticipating for Bitcoin, it is not going to pan out. We are still waiting for a fifth impulse wave. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to walk you through the two scenarios that I see are most likely going into the halving. Let's go to our first chart. Now, in both charts, you will see a vertical line here, which is projected to be around the halving. View 1 is my primary hypothesis. When Bitcoin goes parabolic, it goes parabolic quick. And within a few months, it is very easy for Bitcoin to double and triple in value. My primary hypothesis is we see our wave 5 top this year, somewhere around $120,000 to $130,000, followed by a sharp decline in price, a run up going into halving. Now everyone's thinking, everyone, Everyone is sounding the bells that we're going to 200 plus thousand because, look, back in 2023, we exceeded expectations. Like, we didn't even get to the halving, and we were already up at towards $130,000. So surely we're going to have some super mega cycle. You guys will hear about a mega cycle, okay? A super cycle. Bitcoin to 250,000 plus. Guess what? We're going to create a lower high, and then we're going to continue to dump after the halving, because after the completion of this Elliott wave structure, we're going to undergo a massive ABC correction that's going to last very long. This is scenario 1. Scenario 2, we don't top this year. We really do top around this $40,000 range at some point going into fall. Okay, sometime going into September, October timeframe. And we do peter out. But then all of a sudden we do see our explosion in price. Now, at this explosion in value going into the halving, you can see here, again, people are going to be calling for astronomical price targets on Bitcoin, but we're going to get a correction. We're going to get a lower high, and we're going to continue correcting because, again, we're at the end of our Elliott wave structure here, and we're going to undergo a multi-year period of an ABC fashion of a correction. So again, my two scenarios, my primary hypothesis, blow off top towards $130,000 this year, a run-up going into the halving that ultimately creates a lower high, and we undergo a multi-year correction, ABC type fashion of a correction. Scenario 2, one thing I did not point out here, okay, which I will point out, is our top actually goes higher towards the halving. One of the things you have to keep in mind with scenario 2 is because more time, you see how we have more time here, which has eclipsed to run up, we've been able to create more stair steps here and then undergo our parabola, okay? So to me, that tells me if we have more runway and we have more time, the probabilities are higher that we will run higher in price, which ultimately is actually good for the market. I mean, quite honestly, in thinking about both scenarios, I sort of prefer scenario 2, to be honest, because it allows for more time for price to get parabolic and potentially increase further in value. Here you can see I have the top projected closer to $150,000, $160,000, okay? But ultimately in scenario 2, what we will see price top out in this $40,000-ish range, maybe upwards of $50,000. We'll see the correction people are calling for, but it's not going to run as long as people expect, and we are going to enter that parabola and go higher as a result of having more time and upwards of $150,000, $160,000, begin to put in our lower lows and lower highs, and we'll get that multi-year ABC correction. So those are the two scenarios. If you appreciated the content, make sure to give a thumbs up, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. You got to click the bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday for All in the Charts, taking your daily crypto TA questions Monday through Friday. So until next time, guys, let's all spread awareness and carry the education forward.
So what you gonna do, fiat dollar, on Crypto Bull God and his crypto maniacs and the entire cryptocurrency market run wild on